Hi, I'm Picasso with the Eagle Riders MC. I'm here today with
I'm Hollywood with Black Patch MC here in Las Vegas.
awesome. So we are doing another video today. We've done a few already. We are starting to get some really great questions from our viewers, and so today we're going to do a video answering some of those questions. So we've got two today, which we're going to answer. We're kind of stoked about. The first one is from, and I'll kind of throw this your direction first. Is from Victor Ramos. It's so funny, 3919.
I wonder where they get these numbers from.
I know. I think it's just because there's like 8 million other Victor Ramoses, right? And Google's a big website. And he asked, is a dominant club always a 1% club? And what makes the MC the dominant club? Is it? And he said, is it numbers or what is it? Right? It's a really good question.
I think there's a lot of answers to that too as well.
Yeah.
It's not one thing that says, hey, I'm the dominant club. It's usually a bigger club, in my opinion, because you've got to have numbers to be able to hold your ground, I guess, so to speak. A bigger club, and sometimes maybe an older club. You know, they've known the ropes. They've been around long enough. They've met the people that they needed to meet to make the connections and stay strong for so long. 'Cause I remember saying, or someone told me that like around the 5-year mark, or maybe it was the 10. No, it had to be in the 5-year mark. Was like the make it or break it for a club.
Yeah.
And like usually that's where they kind of fizzle out if they're not into it anymore. So it takes a lot of work just to keep going. And
there's no question about that. Yeah.
yeah, and so clubs that have been around longer, the bigger clubs usually, they've definitely made it. They've figured out how to keep existing, which is hard, especially nowadays.
Well, and as far as dominant clubs go, when you look on a national level, a lot of the clubs that are a quote unquote dominant club in an area are going to be because they've been established for a very long time, which is what you said. But their club may have a lot of history, so it might be a chapter of a larger club that might be national, that might be a dominant club in an area.
Yeah, it doesn't mean like if like you're saying like if a club is a dominant and say here in Vegas or whatever, doesn't mean they're the dominant in every other state or every other city.
Right.
That's not true because there could be different aspects going on in those different places.
Right.
So I think those are some of the bigger aspects of what makes you a dominant club. 1% is a dominant club always a 1% club? I mean,
I would probably say generally yes. Certainly in a large city, you're not going to see a 3-patch or a 2-patch club be a dominant club, so to speak. Certainly not in any major city.
Yeah.
It might be in a small community or someplace where they don't have a lot of clubs. That could be. But, a lot of it has to do with how these clubs are claiming territory. So, and how they claim their territory. So some clubs, certainly 1% clubs, claim a state, a county, an area. It could be a region. It could be a country. It could be, and it depends on how they establish the territory.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not just saying that they're claiming they're going to, take a city name, but it might be how they actually protect it and maintain that.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
defend that.
and then like even here in Vegas, we have clubs that they're the same club, but they'll have a East Side chapter,
Right.
North chapter, because there's so many people in one certain area.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know if I'm talking that term, but I would think that you could even have just a single one of those chapters or clubs that could be the 1%er in that area, even though they're all part of the same club. Just maybe the longest living chapter, the biggest.
Yeah, numbers are bigger. Yeah.
They have the most connections. I think those all come into play with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. So the question is, what makes the MC a dominant club? I mean, it is that multifaceted answer. It's not. I don't think it is that one thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's one thing, but I think a lot of it is how they, like I said, how that club defends that, right?
Yeah.
So, let's say Club A comes in and they're a 1% club and they're a large 1% club. A club maybe that everybody's heard of or most people have heard of. And they might be establishing an area and they might be there for a while. That makes them the dominant club. But let's say their numbers dwindle for some reason. Or let's say they decide to not be as active in the community anymore and another club comes in. It could be Club B rolls in and they've got bigger numbers and they want to take that territory or share a territory or claim a bigger territory. The first club may have claimed a city and now there are another clubs coming in and claiming the state or the county or something like that, right? And that's a lot of times, I hate to say it, that's where club wars get into,
Yeah, big time.
because they're fighting over territory. So, the easiest way to really truly answer that as far as how this applies to you and your individual club is um, learn what your community determines that to be.
Mhm.
I mean, if I kind of always say it's like, if you don't know who the dominant club is in your community, you're not writing enough, you're not going to enough
You're
events.
not
Because if
yeah,
you
you're
don't
not
know, you
meeting
don't
enough
know.
people, yeah.
Right. So, the easiest way to do this is just go to a lot of motorcycle events where 1% clubs hang out
Yeah, you'll
and
start
ask
to
questions.
yeah, you'll start to notice who's around most
Right.
and who's got the bigger presence, who
Yeah.
everyone goes to first to say, hi or
Sure.
shake hands.
Now, and I'll also say this: if you talk to most 1% clubs in a particular area, they will all say that they're a dominant club, right? I mean, I'm running
Yeah,
that too.
right.
Um,
Um,
so it helps to kind of get a little knowledgeable
but
in that area.
also, on a legal standpoint, no club is the dominant club.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
So it takes a lot of meeting people, like you said, networking, to really find out. And it's not who runs the area; it's just a lot of it also comes to respect. If you're coming in to start a club, move in there, want to join a club, what have you, it's just about finding out what's going on. Who are the people that know the people,
Right.
and so that they can find out who you are, and you can work your way into the right,
Yeah.
areas.
So moving on to our next
Yeah.
question, because that was a great question. So thanks for submitting
Yeah.
that. This goes to one of our viewers and comments from Perishing Dragoon. No number on this one though. But he has a great question, or it could be a she, I guess. They have a great question. How long should I ride, or how long should I ride before starting to look for clubs and becoming a hangaround or even a prospect? And then the second part of that question is, I imagine the bar is lower for becoming a hangaround, but how experienced should I be before making efforts to become into the world of the MCs? Right?
So I'll start that though.
Yeah.
That our video on prospecting and hang
Yeah.
around,
Very useful.
definitely check that because it's two different aspects to it. It's not one's a little more serious than the other, and one's a little easier to get into.
Yeah.
Like hang around. You don't really. There's not a huge commitment to it. You're just hanging around. Simply
Right.
that.
Well, and I'll also share with you, we did a video not long ago where we were interviewing Fluffy from Bikers for Christ.
Yeah.
And so his definition of a hangaround is a little different than what our definition of a
Yeah.
hangaround is, right?
Exactly.
So let's define it. So a hangaround, how would you define a hangaround?
Hang around is for you to spend time deciding if this is the club you want to be a part of, the people you want to hang out with, how they vibe together, how they ride together. It's your chance to make the next step.
Mhm.
And then prospecting.
Prospecting is kind of where the club starts to look at you and says, as a potential member,
Yeah.
and after you've been a hangaround for a certain amount of time, and clubs do this differently. Sometimes it's based on rides, sometimes based on time, sometimes both. But at some point, a club's going to look at you and say, okay, well, we see you as potential membership for this club. You've been hanging around with us. Hence the term hang around, right? But you've been hanging around us for a while. Is this something you're interested in joining with us? And if they say yes, then usually what would happen is if you become a prospect, is there is a process to that.
Mhm.
And so you wear a specific kind of patch that dignifies you as a prospect because you're not a member yet. And then there's a whole process there. And again, we did a video on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's the whole process that goes along with being a prospect, and that takes time. And then you earn your keep. And then if you've done everything that's expected of you, and you will usually be given a sponsor, then if the sponsor agrees and the process works over however much time that particular club has as a rule for their prospects, then you become a full patch member. But as far as becoming a hangaround, yeah, there's no real requirement. Really, it just comes and the question is valid. Is that the bar is definitely lower to become a hangaround.
Yeah.
A hangaround is just simply you find a club, maybe you met them at a bar or at an event or something like that, and you shake some hands and you say, "Hey, I'd love to come on a ride with you guys. Is that cool?" And they go, "Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
come on down." And then that's the hangaround phase.
Yeah,
The bar is not very high on.
Our club has, I almost call them lifelong hangarounds. They never wanted to make.
We have a few of those too,
which
yeah.
is no problem. They never wanted to make a step further, but
Right.
they hang around all the time.
Mhm.
And just they get to basically experience the ins and outs, but
Yep.
they don't go past that point.
Right.
So going back, the question was, how long should you wait? Now, I think you don't need to wait that long to start a hangout period.
No, I would be comfortable on your motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly. I was
if you
gonna say,
have some skills, yeah.
don't get right out of the motorcycle class or course and then jump on a Harley and go right to the
Yeah.
biggest club in town. And
Right.
say,
Say,
"Can
look
I
at
hang
me.
out?"
Yeah. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Get your riding skills up.
yeah, you want to know how to ride, especially in groups. Doesn't mean you want to know how to ride or you have to know how to ride side by side or anything. But
Yeah.
you definitely want to know how to ride in groups or just around people, and then make sure you're personable and you can talk to people.
Get comfortable being around other people in the community. Go on poker runs. Go
Yeah.
on community outreach events, and things like that. And become immersed into the club culture where you live.
Mhm.
And it'll start to reveal itself. And it might be maybe you're most interested in a military themed club. It might be a ministry club. It might be an industry trade related club. It might be just a bunch of guys that just ride a lot. It might be an old club or a new one. There's so many out there in any city. I mean, we were just talking, there's over 200 clubs here in Las Vegas. It's a lot. So, finding the right club, it's really not difficult. And it's really just about finding the right people you gel with.
And you don't want to jump into it either.
Right.
Jump right into the first club you see and start prospecting for them, because what if that's not a fit? So, see what clubs are out there. So I don't think there's a timeline or an exact time frame of like 3 months you should wait, but give yourself some time to be comfortable on the bike. There's a lot of club events that are public out there that you could go to and meet people and see what it's like, see where you would fit in.
Right.
And then I think it kind of comes natural too at a point when you've just been hanging out at events or rides. You start to just kind of hang with a certain group after a while, and you start like, these people are cool, and you start hanging out with them more and more. And then now you kind of know. There's a lot of parallels to relationships. It's goofy to say, but it's literally a relationship. So you figure it out, you find the one, and then now it's time to start taking it further.
Right. Because understand, this is something that usually is not going to happen in a couple of days, a couple of months. I mean, this could be just in the prospecting phase could take a year or longer. And so, understand this is a major, major commitment.
Mhm.
So that's why you're right. Don't jump into the hang around phase and just the first club you hop into. And of course, a lot of times clubs might pressure you into, hey, you should prospect with us. Well, give it some
We
time.
need membership.
Go
Go to our website. No.
Yeah, right. So it's very true. So, but you're right. I think you're absolutely right. It's always good to be a hang around of a few clubs and then feel out how they run, how their rules are, how their officers are, how their members are, what kind of activities they do or not do. And when you find the right one, it kind of reveals itself.
Yeah.
But as far as the hang around phase, you can go hang around almost anybody.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a set time. It's just kind of feeling it out for the most part.
Yeah.
All
right.
But that was a great question though.
Really
definitely keep them coming for sure. We I think we enjoy the questions more than just the general content.
Yeah,
because
right.
It's fun to interact with everyone down.
Please
down there.
leave your comments. Let us know, how it was when you were a hang around and what the process was. Also, be sure to click the like and subscribe button. It helps us build our channel. We're just starting at our new studio here, so that helps us out a lot. So it means a lot to us. So please like and share this video, and we'll see you. Oh, we got to do our shot here, our traditional.
You always forget, but I don't remind you, so it's not.
Yeah, I know.
Not your fault.
All right. Cheers. Oh, God, that's awful. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep the shiny side up. See you in the next video.
Take care.